Hi, I'm Kat. I'm the A-Level Film Studies teacher, and I'm here to tell you today about the A-Level Film Studies course. So in A-Level Film Studies there are 2 exams, and they are 2.5 hours long each, and they're each worth 35% of the grade, and the coursework is worth the other 30%. So throughout your 2 years you study 11 films in total. So when studying the films we look at things such as key study areas, and that's key elements of film form such as cinematography, which is camera work. We look at mise-en-scène, which are things like location, lighting, the use of colour, costumes, body language, hair and makeup. We look at editing, and we look at sound, and we look at how they create meaning and how audiences can respond to characters and places, so representation too. And we look at what inspired the films to be made, what kind of deeper messages and meanings the films have. So the first exam is Component 1, and that's varieties of film and filmmaking, and this looks at films from a variety of different eras. So in Section A for the exam we look at films from Hollywood from the 1930s to 1990, and we begin with Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. So that's kind of like a Hollywood classic. We compare Vertigo to Blade Runner. So this was produced in the New Hollywood era. So we just kind of compare them in terms of themes, visual style, character representation, etc. And we look at something called auteur theory. Section B looks at American films since 2005, so we look at mainstream films and we look at independent films as well. So the mainstream film that we study is Selma. So that's about Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream to pursue the civil rights and the Voting Rights Act. And group number 2 is Beasts of the Southern Wild, and that's set in a New Orleans bayou swamp. Section C, we look at British films, so we look at things like Trainspotting, we look at This Is England, and we look at narratives and ideology. Component number 2 looks at global filmmaking. So here we look at films from all around the world, and we start that with Pan's Labyrinth, which is a Spanish film by Guillermo del Toro. We look at The City of God as well, which is set in a favela in Rio de Janeiro, and that's a Portuguese film. And it just kind of tells the tale of Rocket, the young protagonist who's trying to escape a life of crime. So as well as Component 2, we look at documentary. So for this one we study the documentary on the singer Amy Winehouse. We also compare Amy to other filmmakers such as Michael Moore and Kim Long-Inoto as well, so to compare the director to other documentary filmmakers too. And for the final section of global filmmaking, we look at Section C, silent cinema, and Section D, experimental cinema. This is really kind of broadening the film studies horizons, so looking at films that you might normally watch, particularly not in mainstream cinemas. So we look at the silent cinema and experimental in terms of how it makes you feel. So that's that for the exams. We then do a production. This is for the coursework. And what you do for the coursework is you do a screenplay. So this is 1,800 words, and in this screenplay you've got to write it for a short film fit to a brief.
So this is the screenplay for my Year 2 coursework. It's a 1980s British crime film, and you pretty much get free rein of what you'd like to do for your coursework. It makes the course a bit more interesting, and you get a bit of practical filmmaking experience as well.
So in film studies we study a range of films, from international films to Hollywood films. An international film would be Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro, which is a fantastical period film set in 1944. And then here's another Brazilian film, and it's called City of God, which is more of a crime film. And what these do is they help broaden our knowledge of film culture around the world.
Perhaps more recognisably, this is Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, a sci-fi epic neo-noir masterpiece starring Harrison Ford, which actually had a sequel very recently. And here we have Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, starring James Stewart and Kim Novak, a classic piece of Hollywood cinema.
So Jake, you do film studies, right?
Yeah.
What careers could you get from that?
Well, there's a wealth of opportunities. There's a film producer, a film director, a sound mixer, and even an editor.
But hey guys, what about Foley too?
Hi, I'm Paul and I do film, media and English A-levels. I find that I really enjoy film because I really appreciate the analysis part of it, and I really feel like it helps me get onto my university course where I want to go study media. And I find that film really allows me to extend my media knowledge in order so I can build up a portfolio to go into university and study media.
Hello, my name is Fatimata Bayang. I do A-level film studies alongside fine art and media studies. I chose film studies because I thought it would help with the degree that I want to do at university, which is creative marketing and advertising.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Paul.
I'm Fatimata.
I'm Jake.
I'm Harry.
I'm Connor, and together we made this short little film about film studies through the Film Studies Enrichment, which you can find more information about on My Day.
Okay, so that was all the information about the course. If you've got any more questions, then feel free to ask. I'll just be in the corner of the room.